This is an Otari MTR10, which was bought at the end of the 70s. I think it was about 77, 78, not sure. It was one of the professional machines which were on the market at that time and cost about, I think it was 19,000 marks, so it cost about just as much as the average professional machine did in those days. The reason I bought this one though was because I thought it had a lot more to offer than most of the other machines. It had a lot of special little features. I would say it was very well equipped, and well, that's why I bought this. Um, First of all, I must point out one interesting thing about it is it does 3 speeds. It does 19 centimeters a second, 38 centimeters a second. Make it run if you want. You can see 19, you see, and then it does 38, and it also does 76, which is respectively 30 IPS. That is to say, it does 7.5, 15, and 30 IPS. And apart from that, it has this vary speed here. Now it's now on variable, and I can make it slower or make it faster. In fact, it does about 20% up and down. You see, it's getting faster and faster now. Take it back down again. So that is another thing which has, and of course put it back to fixed speed. Another thing which it has, which I think is, you can't see this very well because you're a little bit to the side, but I can see it. You've got it handles different flux, band flux or tape flux. You know, you can have a tape with 510 nanoweber, you can have a tape with 350, and you can have a tape with, I think it's 250 nanoweber. It can deal with all that just by being switched over down here underneath, you know, and you can see which level it's actually on at the moment. That's the one thing it has, and it also it can also deal with the IEC or NAB tapes without being reset up, if you see. Has its own oscillator here, internally. Another thing which I might like to mention is that it is not only a stereo tape machine, it is also a 2-track machine. That is to say, it doesn't have a common erase head. You can sort of record on one track if you want. You've got these the ready buttons here. You know, if you only want to record on one track, well then you can do that, or you can record on the other track, whichever you like. And you can also choose here whether you're listening to reproduction or you're listening to the recording head or the input. You see, so that is. As a feature, as I say, you can record on both tracks at once, or just on whichever the two you like. It also has its own internal monitor, and it's also connected to it's got its own loudspeaker inside of it. You can either stick the phones in here, and then you turn your monitor up here, and you can choose which track you want to listen to, or just listen to both tracks if you want to. And I'll even just show you this little thing now. So if I open it up here for a second, you can see there is a loudspeaker down here, and this cable here, if you pull this cable apart, then the loudspeaker is off, which I did because I never used it, you know, because I always used to use a headset, you see. So that is something else it has. I must also say, you have the two possibilities. Either you just take the level of recording material you're getting and you just feed it into the machine, or you play back and it goes out of the machine just like that. But you can also adjust these things if you want. If you put this in this input button, you see, then you can vary the input level with these knobs here, you see, and you can also, if you want to, vary the output level if you wish to, or as I say, just leave it as it is. And you've got your two instruments here so you can see what you're doing. There's also an input here for an external oscillator if you want one. So I thought now we might have a little look inside of it to see what it looked like. I mean, as I said, it's what is it, 37 years old, something like that, and still looks quite good. I think it does anyway. There you are. Here's the loudspeaker I was talking about, and this is the place where you could disconnect it if you wanted to. And well, you can get it, most of it reasonably well. It's not too bad to get at, and you can also get at the back of it. There's two things which open up at the back, and so you can get at the back of the things, at all the cables, especially the cables on the power supply and all this sort of stuff, you see. What else did I want to tell you? Oh, by the way, it's one thing this is the original colour, right? This is what you can see. This is the original paintwork, which I've also left up here on the top. You can see this is the original paintwork. And the sides of it, well, I've repainted them, so it looks it was a bit scratched here and there, so I thought that might be a good idea. Something you can't really see because of the light is that this little thing here, which gives you the search 0 function. You can reset it back to 0 here, and if you press this button here, you can now read that you're on 30 inches per second. You see, if I turn this down, it's 15, you know, and then it's down to 75, and you can also change it to it only does IPS. I thought it might do centimeters as well. It doesn't, but you can see the percentage if you want. If you're turning this up, if you go onto vary speed, if you turn it up, you can see what sort of percentage you're doing, you see. So that's a nice little function, and this is your search 0 back here. So I suppose the next thing to do is shut it up again, and then we'll put a tape on it, and I'll start showing you what it can do and what it can't do, alright? Right. In a minute I shall put an alignment tape on the machine to show you a couple of things, but before I do that I want to demonstrate you one little fault which it has. As long as one knows this, it's not too bad, it's alright. Now the problem is the following. If it is going backwards at full speed and I press play, then you will see the lights start blinking, and because the brakes are working, and it will slow down, and then it will go into play automatically. I'll show you what I mean. Right? So, see? Works perfectly. But in the other direction, it has a slight problem. As long as it's not going too fast, it works properly. See? Do it again. But if it's going at full speed, it doesn't. The tape goes up and the brakes don't work as quickly as they should do. I don't know why, but as long as you know this, and because there are different ways of moving the thing backwards and forwards, you can do it with this. But that's what I wanted to tell you, alright? Right. So I'm now going to put this alignment tape on the machine, and when I get to this point, I shall notice that the brakes are impeding me. They are stopping me from doing this as I want to. And if I now press this button, the blue button again, which is also the stop button, then the brakes are taken off and I can do it quite easily. I'll start the tape, and in a short time, I would think in about well, 10 seconds. A young lady will come along and tell us something about BASF.
Stereotestband 38. Hergestellt bei der BASF nach beiliegender Beschreibung. Pegeltonteil. 510 Nanoweber pro Meter. 1000 Hertz links. Eintausend Hertz rechts. Teil zur Kopfhöheneinstellung. 1000 Hertz. Zehntausend Hertz.